Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime co-host Miss Purrington. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. You can keep up with us on Twitter and Instagram at Comedy Wham or on our Comedy Wham Facebook page. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our new column Rochelle Takes on Comedy, and our monthly Comedy Wham showcase at Hops and Time in Lakeway on First Tuesdays. Have you checked out our events page for live shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW? If you're a comic in those cities and want your show featured on the calendar, go to the events page and click Submit a Show to complete the short survey. And if you like the new survey, send us a quick review and we'll share your review and promo your show on Instagram. Looking for ways to support all of these resources that we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Search for Comedy Wham on Patreon and check out our subscriber perks. Now let's get back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and we usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. And if you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, I am speaking to one of those many recent transplants to the Austin comedy scene. They host and produce a show called The Main Course Comedy Show, and it is twice a month. Okay.
Yes.
I said I verified my facts, and here I am asking for validation. They had an incredible minute for Kill Tony last April, where the first words out of a certain very notable Austin transplant, Joe Rogan's mouth were, "That was really good." And we're going to talk about that, what that moment must have felt like. Now, on top of all that, they're an incredible graphic designer, and despite having been in Austin for, I think, nearly 2 years now, the first time I got to see them was actually opening for Jessie Mae Peluso, and it was quite a treat to finally get to see their comedy. And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Lukas McCrary.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi,
it's
welcome.
an honor to be here, and especially with Miss Purry here.
Oh, don't let that. She's gonna get that. She's gonna get very inflated ego from that.
I think she earned an inflated ego. I think we should inflate it even more.
Yes, she is the cat mascot of Comedy Wham.
I love her. I love her so much. I've known her for 5 minutes, and I'm in love with her. She's coming home with me.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Now we're gonna have words. Well, Lukas, welcome so much, and welcome to Austin.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is that about right? About 2 years?
About 1 year,
1 year.
Actually, yeah.
Wait.
So I got here in January of 2021.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right.
So a little over a year. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've made a big splash.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I want to start with my official icebreaker question, which is one word to describe your past.
One word to describe my past. Everywhere. Attention. Seeking attention. Seeking attention from every single possibility that I could. Every single outlet, just wanting attention. That's why I do this. It's great for attention. You can stand and people look and listen to you. It's amazing. It's purely for my ego, 100%.
So since this is the word that you've chosen to describe your past, then were you, what kind of moments growing up can you think of as far as being that attention-seeking child, and maybe even that it's a funny moment that you remember? Yeah,
well, I was the youngest of 4, so I was getting hand-me-downs. I felt like at the time, like in the shadow of my older siblings, even though that probably wasn't the case at all. I got a lot of love from my parents. They're very, very nice. But when I started doing theater, and that was like my thing. It was like my thing. None of my siblings were doing it, and even though it was, even though theater's lame and stuff, but it was still like, this is my thing. You know, they were all sports people. And I was horrible at sports. I tried football once in 6th grade, and I went up against. They put me on the offensive line for whatever reason. And I was smaller than I am now. And I went up against like the biggest sixth grader possible. This guy like was doing steroids. He could bench press like 500 or something. And they put me up against him, and he just pushed me back. And then I like tried to stand up, and he just pushed me back again. And I tried to stand up, and he just kept pushing me back, and I started crying. And I went home, and I was like, I never want to play football ever again. This is horrible. I hate it. Then my dad paid me $10 for every game that I would go play.
Parental bribery.
Yeah.
I know it well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it worked well. I was very happy to be playing after that.
Yeah. Well, how did you deal with the getting pushed around and because that is part of the game.
That is part of the game. Yeah. My brother, who's 2 years older than me, we were always at each other's throats. We had a very volatile relationship whenever we were living together. And he was big and strong, so
you had practice at home.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And he played football. He was on the offensive line, and he was like meant for it.
Yeah.
So I knew how to like push his buttons, like verbally, and like just like unplugging his Xbox randomly, you know. And he knew how to hit me really hard.
I feel so bad for little Lukas.
Oh, no. I was asking for it. I 100% deserved everything that was coming at me.
Yeah. So then you gradually get into theater in school. And what kind of things were you like on stage doing theater?
Yeah. So I did. My first ever play was in a musical of The Ugly Duckling. Okay. And I played one of the sassy hot brothers that would make fun of the duck for being so ugly. And then I did a bunch of other stuff. I played Tom Sawyer. There she is.
There she is.
Aw. And so I did Tom Sawyer, and then I played the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors. That was probably the most fun. But then whenever I got out of high school, I stopped doing plays. I kind of got tired of it. I started doing improv. And also improv is lame too, so I feel bad about that.
You're just burning all of the performance bridges today, aren't you?
Yeah. So then through doing improv in college, I was able to meet a bunch of stand-up comedians in the Knoxville, Tennessee area. And then I went and did my first open mic and, crushed it, did the best that anyone's ever done before. And it's just been stand-up ever since. Okay,
so I'm going to follow up on a couple of things that you've talked about. Paint a picture of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay, so it's about 180,000 people there. It's a college town, so in the summer it's a lot less people.
Okay.
It's the scene there is very small. There's only like 20 to 30 active comedians there.
Okay.
And only like 3 to 4 open mics a week. So it was very slow growing there, but also it was nice because I felt very I didn't feel a lot of pressure for starting there. Pressure to be like amazing yet. I sucked until I moved here. Pretty much I was horrible at this. I still feel horrible at it sometimes. Depends on the night, you know.
So you didn't feel that drive to escape your hometown. You stayed.
So I'm from Kingsport, Tennessee, which is even smaller.
Okay.
So I moved to Knoxville when I went to college.
Okay.
Because I'm rich and smart.
I could tell. And Knoxville, did it have like where were you? You said you did improv in college.
Mm-hmm.
In the college like class environment, or was there a theater? Like we've got Fallout, we've got, our handful of theaters.
There was a small. It was pretty much a lecture hall that we would perform in. That was in the library, but it was all students that were on the team. It was started by a grad student named Miles, and I don't remember his last name. He's dead to me. But he started, and it was actually when I started doing graphic design too, because I would make the posters for those shows. And our team mascot was this chubby, hairy man who would wear legging or fishnets. So I would do posters with that drawn on there. Yeah. So that was my first time doing graphic design too. So it kind of all goes together.
Yeah. I feel like she hates closed doors, so this is her messaging. I feel like I skipped in my introduction. One of my last bullet was because I didn't actually write down on my. Everything is very researched and scripted to a point. Mm-hmm. And I threw in the getting to see you at Jessie Mae's show. Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, I forgot to mention that my last bullet was on top of that. You are an incredible graphic designer. Anybody that has seen your posters is, they're just really cool. They have a very cool feel to them.
Oh, thank you.
And I part of my research, I went to your website, your design website, and it's like, wow, you've done some incredible work.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
What drew you into that part? Were you always an artistic, like?
I was always like want to be not autistic. Maybe I am autistic. I do want to be autistic. That would help out with my focus. No, I was always like a wannabe artistic kid. Like I think I like romanticized the idea of like a starving artist and like, the hot guy with bangs that sleeps on the floor in this loft apartment, just has paintings hanging up and stuff. But I just can't live. I like having a couch and, a roof over my head. And
it's the trifecta too, with one that does improv.
Yeah.
I mean, you add that to the mix, you're living the dream.
Right.
So, starving artist who does improv with killer bangs.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I with graphic design, I was like moderately artistic growing up. I was horrible. My oldest brother, he was like super artistic. He could draw things photorealistic and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'll never be that. I hate this. And then I did some art classes in college, and they're like, well, not all art has to look good. And I was like, oh, okay, this is the place for me. This is great. It can look horrible. And it's like kind of the reason. If it's looked horrible for a reason, then it's good.
Yeah. So you graduate, you've got improv experience. Was that first stand-up that you did while you were still in college?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I was 21 when I did it. So I think I had 2 years left after, so like right in the middle of my college career.
And I know you said you crushed it.
Oh, I crushed it hard, yeah.
Oh. I mean, I think it's very common that people that have been doing improv, they end up realizing, oh, there's stand-up performers out there, and there's a natural migration that sometimes happens. What was it for you that you thought, oh, I'd like to give this a try?
I think it was always in the back of my head that I wanted to do stand-up, but I never knew it as a real thing. I didn't know that there were just casual open mics that you could go out and just try stand up at. And then I went and saw an open mic in Knoxville, and I was like, oh, these people are bad. I could do this too. There's no bar. I could probably be okay at this, and it looks fun. So I went and I tried it, and I was like, oh, this compared to improv, this is much more satisfying because it's a lot more selfish things that I'm getting out of it. Yeah. Improv is fun because you have to, work with a team, and you can't always say the thing that you think will be the funniest because it might ruin the scene entirely. But with stand-up, it's all on you, and if you do well, it's all on you, and if you do bad, it's all on you.
Yeah. Since you had that improv background, how did you approach doing stand-up in those early days? Did you think, oh, I'll just riff, or did you actually put pen to paper?
No, I would practice in front of my mirror day of, go up with not much of a plan, like maybe like 2 very loose ideas of punchlines, and then kind of go up and riff. And I was also against the idea of doing jokes more than once. I was very pretentious about it, and I was like, I'm going to try to write a new 4 or 5 minutes every time I do this open mic, so I can show them who they're messing with, you know?
How long did that last?
It lasted about like 3 weeks. Okay. It wasn't, It was, and also, I was going up like maybe once a week at that time. Okay. So, about 3 times I was able to try something, and every time it got worse and worse.
Oh,
and then,
no.
So I was like, all right, I need to maybe try to do these jokes more than once.
Yeah. Is there a club scene where after comics have been doing the open mic work that they have something to reach for? No,
there's a lot of bar shows that were very, bar shows, bar shows. And there used to be a club there, but they shut down. That was before I started. But yeah, it's pretty much like open mics were like the biggest comedy thing there.
And how long were you there before you decided I got to get out of here?
I left pretty close after graduating. Okay. So I left Knoxville, and this was like during COVID. When COVID first started, I left Knoxville, and I was like, I have nowhere to go. I have nothing to do. And my sister was living in Salt Lake City, so I went and stayed with her it was supposed to be I was going for a month, and I ended up staying for like 5 months there and just living with her. And I was like, okay, now I need to get out of Salt Lake City because I'm going crazy here. It's cold and there's nothing open. And I was like, I'm going to go down to the land of the free, and where there's sunshine and tacos. And so then I came down here.
What did you know about Austin?
Very, very little. I'd never been before. Yeah. I'd only been to Texas once before in San Antonio. And that was like the year before I moved here. I went to San Antonio to visit a friend, and I hated San Antonio. I hate it there so much. And I was like, oh, I really hope not. Whenever I moved here, I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a month. I'm going to commit to a month and see how it goes. Yeah. And then that month has now turned into about 13 months.
Yeah. What did you know about the Austin comedy scene?
I knew Rogan moved here, and I knew that it was going to be a lot of people here flocking here. I knew it had potential to grow or whatever, but I didn't know much about it at all. I went online. I think it was probably Comedy Wham the website that I ended up finding, where it had like all the open mics listed and stuff. And I was like, oh, there's multiple a night. This seems awesome. Whenever I was in Salt Lake City, there was like 5 going on a week tops, just because everything was shut down.
But you were hitting them.
I did the Wise Guys open mic a few times, which was awesome. It was like a real show there. And then I did a few of the bar ones. I was still like very scared of COVID, and also dating. Mostly it's because I was dating this girl that was very scared of COVID, and I wanted to be able to keep having sex with her. And so she didn't want me going out to places and stuff. So I'm a cuck for the mask. So then I had to get out of there.
I think this is your episode title.
Yeah. Cuck for the mask.
Did you experience any culture shock about performing comedy in such a different, I assume such a different, like Salt Lake City, you've got the Mormon influence, but I've visited Salt Lake City, so I know it's kind of, it's very clean, seems very prim and proper. I've never been to Knoxville, so I have no idea, but I've been to Nashville, so, I'm going to extrapolate and say, okay, it's just chiller vibe, lots of barbecue around. So was it a culture shock to perform for a different?
Yeah, so I would say the Salt Lake scene, because Wise Guys, they really like clean comics, but I was at the open mics where people were dirty, so I wasn't really seeing much of the clean. But coming here was probably the biggest shock in that people just say like literally anything on stage, and it's like getting away with words that like in Knoxville, Nashville, it would have the audience turn on you. But here, whenever you say those words, it's like a rally cry, and people like get really into it. Depending on the setup and stuff, there's sometimes when it doesn't go well. But that was a huge culture shock in that everyone just like seemed to kind of agree that that's fine, and it feels like kind of a bubble, and that I don't think most scenes are like that, which is why I like this scene a lot, and that it's like feels like comedy comes first, and then the words specifically don't matter as much.
So I will have to put a pin in that, because you have the luxury of you didn't see the scene before COVID. You didn't know what the scene was like before. And I'm sure now that you're so entrenched in the scene, performing, booking, you see a lot of comics, you probably are aware that the scene before that, nobody would have described it the way you just did.
Yeah.
Like certain words, topics would not have been cool with either audiences or fellow comics. So COVID shook so many things up, and I think, there's the perceived division of the old guard and the new guard, which you're a part of the new guard. Yeah. And that's why I'm trying really hard to interview people that are perceived part of the new guard, because you specifically moved here for comedy, and you care enough about your comedy career that's what you chose to do, because you realized there's a lot to offer here, and so did a lot of people. And there are certain pockets of the Austin comedy scene that that's totally cool, and like you said, it's going to generate the roar in the audience. But any old guard comic, any old guard audience member, they're not going to be cool with that. And I think what has happened in Austin is, because of the population's growth in the city, we just added another niche to the scene. It's not that there was I don't know that it's a division. It's just we expanded like the city expanded. And so that meant people who wanted to do that kind of comedy could find an audience like that. Yeah. But where you have to be careful is when you start mixing in with, some of what I call the old guard audience. And I think that's where things get really interesting for these types of comics, is realizing, I have to adapt to my sets or the way I approach this if I'm going to be successful, which I want to be successful, versus the type of comic that just comes in and says, I'm just going to say the worst things. I don't care. I'm not going to adapt. So to me, it's like, how much do you care about your career comedy that you're willing to learn to adapt and make, if you're going to use a word that would otherwise be offensive, how smart are you going to make your joke? Right. To make it so that no matter the audience, it hits. Right. So sorry for my soapbox lecture here.
Oh no, I think you got it right on the head. I think a lot of people, I forget this all the time too, that like I forget my job a lot of the times, and my job is to make these people laugh. My job isn't to, perform my art regardless of them liking it or not.
Yeah.
Like, my job is to make people have a fun time and enjoy themselves. So there's some material that works really well with certain audiences, and then there's some material that if you do it in front of certain audiences, they will hate it on the right or left,
Yeah.
up or down, it's all old or young. Like I did Dean's and Spencer Cavan's show at Barrels and Amps. I did that like 2 weeks into moving here, and I did 4 minutes, and I ate my dick the entire 4 minutes. It's this more conservative libertarian crowd in Georgetown, and I couldn't relate to those people at all, and I was like, oh, screw these guys. Like, they don't understand me. They don't get it. They don't understand what I'm about. It's not for them. So I think it's very easy to get into that mindset of, I'm just going to do me regardless of what they think.
Yeah. So at what point did that shift into something more humble where you realized either I'm going to go to only perform in venues where I know whatever I said isn't going to eat dick, or I'm going to adapt a little bit?
I think it's been a slow process. A lot of bombing helps. Bombing, humbles the soul.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's still not something that I'm, entirely over. I still it's very easy after you bomb to be like, oh, this audience sucks. They weren't doing it. Oh, I went up first. It's the hardest spot. But I think it's just like Andre Ricks, he told me, is like just a lack of connection. Like if you have a joke that works, but it's not working that night, and it's just like the audience isn't connecting with it at all. You couldn't connect with them. So I think just like trying to learn small things that you can do to try and connect. I still have trouble with older audiences, parents. I can't relate because I'm just one of their kids that's like a vigilante kid that fucking they like I'm a nightmare that they think like they're terrified that their kid's going to grow up to be me, so they don't want to laugh. They don't want to support. And I have to do something to like ease their mind and show them that, hey, I'm doing fine.
Yeah. But have they seen your show posters and your
right?
album
Yeah.
art? Yeah.
If they got to know the real me,
Exactly. I wanna hone in on what must have been an incredible moment for you at the Kill Tony in April. So at this point, you had been in Austin a few months. You get picked from the bucket, and one of the guests is Joe Rogan, and you. I don't know how much you knew about the cult of Joe Rogan and how big he was, and the splash he made by moving here, but just, removing myself from any of the controversy surrounding him, the fact that he's, top of the game in the comedy world for a lot of people, I want to know about that moment where the first words out of his mouth were, that was really good.
It felt good. I mean, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but like my leg was shaking the entire time. That still is the biggest stage that I've performed on, like with the most amount of people. I don't know how many people they fit in the Paramount, but
oh, that was the Paramount show? That wasn't even like at the Vulcan?
Yeah, it was at the Paramount.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an even bigger moment for you.
So it was very weird in that like you're looking out into the audience and you see no face at all. It's just blackness.
Yeah.
And then I'm just talking at them, and then the first punchline hit and it's like a wall of laughter. It felt incredible. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be good now. And then it felt surreal whenever they were like talking to me afterwards. Like Rogan, he looks like someone who's just on TV. You know, it's weird seeing how short he is in real life.
Yeah.
He's a tiny, tiny man with an oily head. He's got muscles in his head. It's incredible. I think he has a 6-pack on his forehead. So it was. I was very happy also that I went up early because I watched the rest of the show and they were just getting trashed up there and they're just becoming a lot less able to listen to what they're talking about. So I was very happy that I went up early. And I think the goal of everyone that goes on Kill Tony, at least all the local people, is to get the secret show spot. And I was very happy that I got that. My interview was very short, and I was happy that it was short as it was. That I could just do my jokes, them compliment me, get the secret show spot, and then leave. Yeah. So it was great. It was one of the highlights of my comedy career. Yeah. And then from that, I was able to do secret show and have since been like a regular on it, which has helped me out a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It's just consistent performance in front of like a really good audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you decided you were going to start producing your own show.
Yeah, so it was around that time also that I think my first show that I was producing was like the week after I did the Kill Tony. So all of that kind of came at the same time. And then producing a show. I mostly wanted to do it to get stage time because it's very... it can get very overwhelming just thinking about like, okay, how am I going to get consistent stage time from these people? Because I have no control over it at all. Yeah. So if I'm producing my own show, then I have full control over how much stage time I'm getting. The first time I did 15 minutes was on my own show, you know? So I think I mostly did it. Also, like the money is great. I'm now making like some money from it, which is really nice. Yeah. But also... just being able to have a place that I can consistently just, you know, do my reps.
Yeah. And as somebody who's new to Austin, how did you go about producing and booking the show?
So it was first at Santa Cruz. And I knew the guy running it because he was doing open mics there every week. He was doing shows on the weekend. So me and another friend, Jack Timmons, we went and approached him with the show. And I'm horrible at pitching ideas. I'm more of like, just please let me do it, and I'll show I can like do it well. But I'm not like. I'm not a hype man at all. I can't like say exciting things, make people excited. I'm horrible at sales. I would never be good as a salesman. So whenever we pitched him the show, the owner was just like, okay, fine. It sounds fine. We'll try it. And then the first one we were able to sell it out, and then he was like, okay, these people are real. But then we switched over to Firehouse because Santa Cruz is taking too much of a percentage. So switched over to Firehouse, and it's been really nice there. Then I've also done some shows at Spider House and a couple at Vulcan too. So those have all been really fun.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel happy that you've made this big move to Austin?
Yeah, I feel really good about it. I like Austin a lot. It's starting to feel like a home. I just moved into a place with my buddy Dan Pytetsky.
Oh, I like Dan a lot.
Yeah,
he did
Dan's
our
great.
Showcase.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Dan's amazing. And horrible comic, but great guy. So
That's
nice.
That's why everyone booed him.
So we moved into a new place and we got a real cozy in there. It's so nice. I really like living here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
And we're going to try this game. Where should we begin? This is a card game, whatever. And you're going to tell me left or right. And I'll read it off. And then you're improv, so you can do this.
Okay. Left.
Okay. My left. Your left. Okay.
You're right.
Okay. All right. Ooh, this will be fun. A major challenge I've overcome.
All right. Well, I haven't overcome really anything. But I think one thing, there's a lot of pressure as a producer to like book people. And I'm very, I get in my own head of like, oh, this person doesn't like me because I haven't booked them in a few months, or, oh, that person doesn't like me, good, so like getting over that, like fear, anxiety, insecurity about people, about relationships being very transactional is still something that I'm trying to overcome. And that, I don't know, I hate comics sometimes. I hate them so much. I hate them so much. No, they're all great. I love them. We're all killers. So I think just overcoming just producing your own show brings a lot of insecurity. So just overcoming that and trying not to think about what other people are thinking and just kind of focus on yourself.
Yeah. Well, you've achieved a level of success with producing your show that audiences are coming to it. Mm-hmm. So do you think it's just an innate ability or just hunch that you have about putting the right combination of people together on the show, and that's what's driving you? Or do you, because I could tell you that when I book my showcase, it's all very analytical, and it's like, okay, I'm in this mode where until I hit the 1 year anniversary mark of mine, I don't have any repeats. And so that, that means I have to be like looking at things very carefully versus, because I'm not a natural comic, so I don't have the hunch that I would imagine you would have about, oh, I can just grab these names, put them together, and magic. Yeah.
Well, I try to, when I start, I try to get 2 to 3 people that are like solid. And then I build around that and maybe, try out a new comic who maybe is more new, but like really itching for some good stage time. And then I just kind of build it around that. I mostly just focus on, I don't really think much about like, okay, this person has this kind of theme with their stand-up. This person talks about this, so we shouldn't put this person because it's very similar to that person. I mostly just focus on, okay, are they consistent? Are they great? And if so, I'm going to book them on the show.
Yeah. What do you want to do next?
Next, I want to travel more. I want to feature for more people and do longer sets. I want to get more comfortable with doing 20, 30 minutes. I've never done 30 minutes before. It sounds terrifying. 20 minutes is still like terrifying to me. I've only done it a handful of times. I did it with featuring for Jessime Peluso, and that was terrifying.
You were great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. It was the scariest moment of my life. But I just want to do more stages in different cities, and I'm gonna go to LA and San Diego next month and do some shows there and just kind of like get a vibe, catch a vibe.
Have you figured out some of that adaptability to the different audiences, or do you think you have?
In my head, my ego tells me, yeah, you got it down. You've got it down 100%. And it's, I still struggle whenever there's like an audience where they are all the same. You know, there's like theme shows where it's like bring out like all of these people that are in the same club or whatever, you know. So I did a show last night that was at a sober bar.
What?
It was at Sands Bar in the East Side.
Oh, wow.
So they had mocktails. So it was all sober people, which is it ended up being really fun. I have this joke where I start off by asking if the audience, if anyone there is in therapy, and usually I get like one guy that's like, oh yeah, you know, and then but this time everyone in there went like, woo, yeah. So it can't. I think whenever the audience is like all in the same club, it can either go really well for you or really bad. I think it's because it's like the group mind kind of thing, like deciding, oh, we love this person or we hate this person. Yeah. So last night went well. I've had other times where I'm doing groups of the same club and I just eat my dick.
Alternate title to the your episode.
So yeah, it's still I'm still learning and trying to be more malleable, flexible.
Yeah. What's been the funnest time that you've had on stage?
I did Adam Lucky's roast show recently. I roasted Mike Eaton, and that was probably the funnest I had on stage in a long time. It was really goofy and fun. I think a lot of roast shows, it's just like kind of focus on like, oh, I'm gonna like be the funniest person on stage, but like I lost that roast and I had so much fun on it. Like at the end I started a chant just cheering Mike's name over and over. So I think just like allowing yourself to be goofy and have fun, and that was fun too. Making fun of a fat guy is always great.
Oh, Mike. Mike was great. I loved getting to know him. I interviewed him a few months ago.
Okay,
now,
yeah, he's incredible.
He's great. I'm actually really happy getting to know all these people that have. Well, he's got such a long-winded story of he was in Austin and then he left and then he came back. I think he may have left again and then come back. But getting to know the people that kind of represent the new face of the Austin comedy scene has been really fun. Like I'll tell you, I was terrified to interview you, reach out to you because I'm like, he's part of the new guard, he's hanging with those people. And I'm like, I have to get over that because I cover Austin comedy and I have to talk to people that create, the quilt of the comedy scene.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited that you did reach out to me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'll have to rely on you and Mike Eaton to tell me who else I should be interviewing. Because
oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm terrible, and I'm now, as you can tell, I'm very old. So getting out to all these people that have these late night shows, and since I live so far out, getting out anymore is like, oh, do I really want to do that?
Yep. Yep. I feel that. I live very close to downtown, and even I'm like, I'd rather stay in.
Well, you made your place so cozy.
I know. It's a problem.
How, let's see, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want people to know about you? This is your opportunity to be a hype man for yourself.
Oh man. Okay. Come to my shows. They're pretty cool. They're pretty good. We have a show.
This isn't actually the promo part. No.
Oh,
like
what am I hyping
Lukas,
up? Oh, okay.
You're addicted to
I'm
licorice or.
Oh, okay, nicotine. Yes.
Yeah, you're here with like this gigantic. Isn't that like pure caffeine?
Yeah, the yerba mate, blue foria. Yeah, that's got to be good for you. Not a sponsor, but it could be if you plug it enough. Yeah. It could be. Yeah, I mean, I might. I think I'm gonna quit my job soon. Yeah. So I can do comedy full time. I've been making more posters for other comics and stuff, so that's always really fun.
What is your day job?
I do contract design for this company that's in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
They are a marketing thing, and I make PDFs that I make ebooks to inform truckers about trucking things. So
Sounds amazing.
It's amazing. It's very fulfilling. It's my passion. I love truckers. I know too much about truckers that I don't want to know.
My dad was a trucker.
Well, your dad's a piece of shit.
Well, he's a piece of something. He's in the ground.
Oh no!
Oh,
Pour one out.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody asked recently about who does good posters, and I put your name out because I really like your posters.
Thank you so much. Cool. Yeah.
And I think I had done the homework of looking at your website and all of your varied designs.
Thank you.
Like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love doing it. It's nice because it's work, but also it's similar to stand up in that it doesn't feel like work. It's fun to do.
Yeah. Let's see. I love that the main course.
Oh, thank
flyer. You. How long did that take for you to from idea to execution?
It took. So I revamped it and I kept going through all of these different versions of it. It took probably total 30 hours just because I'm so nitpicky on it on my own stuff. It's easy to get caught in the weeds on it.
Yeah.
Whenever it's other people's posters, it's a bit easier to disconnect from it and just do what needs to be done and get the job done. But whenever it's my own, I'm like, oh, this has to be 100% perfect. This doesn't look right. Move it a centimeter to the left.
Yeah.
So I spent way too long on that one. But if anyone asks, it took me 2 hours. I'm very quick. I can do anything very quickly. But yeah. So that one's nice. It's I feel like I've got a good branding on that one.
Yeah.
Want to keep that one consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just started another show at Spider House called Just Desserts, and it's got a picture of a pie.
Do you like food, Lukas?
Main
course, just desserts.
Yeah, I eat like a sandwich once a day. I'm a very light eater. I like food, it's good. But I had the main course show first. Me and Jack Timmons came up with that name. And then I wanted something to stay under that kind of umbrella, so Just Desserts.
Yeah. And is that what makes that distinct from main course?
Different location.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Different location is the biggest thing. Same, quality of comics, but yeah, just Spider House is such a different vibe from Firehouse.
Yeah.
It's got this. It feels like the 80s at Spider House. Got the disco ball. It's got those beautiful red velvet curtains there. It's got very fun lighting. A lot more space. You can fit more people in there. The quality of sound is very nice at Spider House. It's just a great venue.
Okay. So I am struck by the fact that there's one thing that I've not asked about, and that is how do you write your jokes? Because one of the things that I've observed from watching you open for Jessie May and watching that clip from last April is the turn is very important for you, or the misdirect is very important for you. Mm-hmm. Is that do you focus more on writing to that effect, or do you have the idea kind of like what you did when you did that first open mic? It's you kind of have a rough idea, but then you workshop it on the stage.
Yeah, I think specifically whenever I'm writing brand new material, I just kind of come up with a lot of stuff and just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. I really am not a very good writer. I just go up a lot and am able to okay, this works, pretty consistently. This doesn't work at all, so we'll take that out. So I feel like every joke that I've ever written just came upon by accident. Like, I don't know how I did it at all, but, like, if I'm able to perform it and then, like, I can, like, see, like, oh, if I emphasize this word, it works a lot better. Or if I take a pause here, or if I change my tone at this sentence, kind of turn it, then it can work a lot better. So it's a very slow process for me trying to get a joke from the nugget of idea to getting something where I feel like it's coming to a conclusion, coming complete.
Yeah.
So it's a process that I don't even know myself. I'm not a disciplined writer at all. So I wish I had like one of those charts on just a bunch of papers stapled to the wall with red yarn going to it, but
you could.
Yeah, I could start that.
Do a little vision board for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Dick jokes, pussy.
Hey, whatever works.
How can I make this more racist?
Oh, I won't go to that show. Tell me when you're doing, old people jokes. No, right. I'm kidding.
I'll get some kids, and then once I have children, then it's all gonna come complete. I can finally be finished.
There's a teenager over there if you want to take him.
Oh, yeah.
That's the closed doors. The teenager.
I am going to take Miss Purry with me.
No. Good luck. All right. Well, I think that... is there anything else that you want people to know about you?
That I'm cool, I'm hot, I'm funny sometimes, just all around great guy, no faults, no flaws, just perfect all around. And I run shows where you buy tickets.
Yeah, buy tickets. And not sarcastic at all.
Not sarcastic at all. No. I hate sarcasm. I hate it so much. It makes me so mad.
That delivery. That's your magic. Is your delivery and your timing. Like there's something that you figured out exactly what. So all the words, just as long as they fall into your delivery and your timing, that's your magic.
Stop it! You're making me blush.
Okay, are you ready for your closing question?
Yes.
Okay, it is one word to describe the future.
Rich. Money. I want money. Give me money. I want a $20 million deal with Spotify. I will take over Joe Rogan's job. Give me money.
Good luck.
I've just recently started to figure out the business side of stand-up and how to actually make a living off of it. Yeah. So it's very new, but also very exciting because now my parents take this more seriously. That I'm making way more from stand-up than I am from my day job.
Yeah, that's huge. And you're so young. You're so young.
So young and fertile.
Yeah, I think being taken seriously, it's a big confidence boost, or it can be, because some people there are people that of course are petrified to let go of that day job. Mm-hmm. You have the advantage of being young, so you're like, I can recover from this,
right? And my parents they help me out a lot. Still, I still have a very big safety net. So.
Yeah. So taking that leap when you're young I think it's smart that you're gonna go to other cities, because you learn so much by performing in different places. And it goes back to this thing that I keep harping on, is being able to be adaptable to different audiences only helps you in the long run. Yeah. So, all those comics saying the terrible words, you got to learn to be adaptable.
Right.
We can't all be, or you can't all be, I don't know, who's somebody that if we were to have to answer a pop quiz question of who's a comic that we think has never learned that lesson and is at the top of the game.
Adam Lucky, racist.
No, I mean like
No,
on
I
the
love
national
Adam.
or international, like
hasn't learned to be adaptable. Any of those YouTube headliners that you would see, like they sometimes come to Vulcan or Creek where they just perform in front of their own audiences, and they kill in front of their own audiences, but
they're just gonna stick to that cult audience.
I mean, good for them. They found a way to make money and have an audience, though, so it's hard to hate on them.
Yeah.
Damn
it. I wanted to hate.
I know.
No, I don't want to hate. I just want people to kumbaya. That's me. I just want kumbaya.
Yeah, I know. Me too. So. Me too. Sucks we're all going to hell.
Speak for yourself. I always joke with my son that, or my boyfriend too, that,
your son or your, wait, which one? Are they both? Is this one person that's both?
Oh my God, now I'm going to turn red. No, but when they cuss, I say, no, this is a fine Christian home.
Yeah.
We will not use that kind of language. It's like, I don't go to church. I mean, you see a cross around here? No. Okay.
I see an upside down one.
Maybe I am going to hell. Okay. All right. Well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham presents Lukas McCrary.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're not done.
Oh.
Now's when
sorry.
Okay. Once more, practice being that hype man.
Okay.
Tell us about your shows, projects. Do you have a podcast? Everybody has a podcast.
I don't have a podcast. I'm hoping it never comes to that.
There's such a pain, Lukas.
Oh, I'm sure.
I will tell you. No.
I'm sure.
Okay. Hype man, tell us about
you can find me on Instagram, Lukas WMC. I post all about my shows. I post some funny clips sometimes. I got on Netflix recently on the 20-somethings Austin. Best show on Netflix. Hottest show on Netflix. I got one of my jokes in there, so now I use it as a credit, even though I should not. But, my comedy is featured on Netflix. That's what I tell people. They don't have to look it up or anything. I tell them I did an hour on Netflix. They don't have to know anything else. You can come to secret shows on Thursday. I perform there most weeks. I do, it's the hottest show in town, other than my show, which is at Firehouse, called Main Course. Best show in Austin, best comics in Austin. We only book white dudes, so if you love white men telling you about words they should be allowed to say, come out to Main Course Comedy. And then also another show we're doing at Vulcan is called Hit List, and it's a secret lineup. We don't tell you anyone that's on it. But the comics have all been headlining and featured on 20-somethings Austin. So you should come out. See Hit List at Vulcan. It'll be the last Saturday of every month, so come out to that. I love you.
Very good. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Lukas got to be the comedic genius that you heard today, just as much as I have. I love whatever reaction I get when I say it. That's why I've been saying it for 6 friggin' years. This has been Comedy Wham presents Lukas McCrary. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Lukas.
Thank you.
And no, you can't have Miss Purry.